Shady, coming to you first on this one because I'm very interested. 0-2 are the Bengals. I said this earlier. I'll continue to reiterate this thing. Teams that start 0-3 in America, 1% chance of making the playoffs. Bengals have been to the AFC Championship game the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Are the Bengals officially flirting with disaster?
I'm going to say no. I've been there before, man, where I counted the Bengals and Joe Burrow out.
Yeah, it's true.
Man, they 0-2, ain't no way they're going to make it. You know, they had hangover, going to the Super Bowl. They can't do it. And sure enough, they were 2-3, and then they ran off. They was 10-1.
Yep.
So I see them do it, and I don't care what the numbers say, what the stats say. I don't care about that. Joe Burrow and his team, when they get hot, they are special. You talked about being special. Joe Burrow is that. He's a special quarterback. I think he's dealing with some injuries. We'll see how that works out. But I can never count out Joe Burrow and them Bengals.
This right here is trouble, trouble for Cincinnati. Listen, 0-3. 1% chance, that's what you said.
1%.
And we talking about Joe Burrow not being 100%. So we are questioning not playing him. You know, going out up against a Rams team who's playing really good football. Like, you are staring at an 0-3 start. There is no bounce back from that. Especially when Joe Burrow's calf injury is lingering out there and you thinking about, should I put him out there? How he gonna look when I put him out there? Because the first 2 weeks, we can all say, is he thinking about the calf? Because this ain't the Joe Burrow we used to seeing. You know, so is this something that he's thinking about where he don't really want to get outside the pocket, he don't want to move? Like, this scares me. I'm scared for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm worried for the Cincinnati Bengals because this is not how they looked, even when they were coming off of an 0-2 start and they went on a 10-1 run. This is not how they looked. They have big-time players, and they big-time players ain't showing up. So, man, I'm worried. I don't think they get out of this. I think they're looking at an 0-3 start, especially how the Rams is playing. I think it's donezo for the Cincinnati Bengals.
So they play Monday night, the late game against the Rams. To me, it depends on if Joe Burrow plays or not.
But we've seen him play the last 2 weeks.
I mean, he had some passes to T. Higgins. They didn't get blown out by the Ravens. They just didn't have enough, and they might have won that game if everyone was healthy anyway. It's the Ravens. What's concerning to me is the situation that they're in. If Joe Burrow isn't healthy, if he doesn't play, and they start 0-3, which we will all assume that they're going to lose if Joe Burrow doesn't play. Maybe they don't. Maybe they squeak it out. But let's assume they start 0-3. And assume that the teams that are winning in the Dolphins and the Ravens keep winning, which I think they will both win this weekend. The Ravens play the Colts, and the Dolphins play the Broncos. I think they both improved to 3-0. So now the gap between the best teams is starting to stretch a little bit. You got the Bills. I think they're winning this weekend. I think the Jags are going to win this weekend. I don't know. You looking at my picks? Maybe I'm not right. But that's what I think. We will all end up picking those teams to win this weekend, and I think they will. So the AFC race is just going to be very tight. It's everything we just talked about with the Chargers as well. It's a 1% chance. It's going to start getting away from them. And because they lost the first 2 games to divisional opponents, that it might be out of reach already. So you're trending towards a wild card spot with teams that are playing much better in those spaces. The Dolphins and Bills, they're in the same division. We think they're both playoff teams. That's another spot gone. So it's more about the fact, to me, that they're in this position. If they were going into this position with 1 win or 2 wins and they take the L to the Rams, I'm not as concerned. It's just concerning the position that they're in.
0-3.
To me, the Bengals are in an issue primarily because they didn't pick a struggle. They had the opportunity to pick a struggle. Bengals could have chose to be healthy and sorry or good and hurt. But they didn't pick a struggle. Now they sorry and hurt. If you didn't start Joe Burrow throughout the first 2 games of the season, you would have been healthy and you would have been sorry, but you picked the struggle. If you would have started Joe Burrow and he had played well, you would have been hurt, but you would have been good. But now they sorry and hurt. That's bad math.
That's bad.
You got to pick a struggle. And the Bengals are looking at 0-2, like Joy has said, but not only just 0-2, like Joy also said, the Ravens are 3-0 moving that way if they beat the Colts. So now the real dilemma is you're not going to win a division.
No.
Okay, if you're not going to win a division, you got to start jostling for wild card spots. Okay, the Bills are going to get one of those wild card spots, or the Dolphins going to get one of those wild card spots. Okay, now you're jostling with other teams like the Raiders, or now you're jostling with other teams in the AFC, like the Browns, who've already beat you. So I find dilemma with the Bengals because in my mind, they did not pick a struggle. Pro analyst Boomer Esiason, he said that they should sign Carson Wentz since he won't be as bad as Wilson. Shady, judging by your facial reaction, you don't like that.
What are we talking about? He said do what?
Sign Carson.
What's the question? I ain't about to.
Do the Jets need another quarterback?
No, not right now. I think it's still safe that Zach Wilson, even though he didn't play great, he didn't play terrible last game, right? I mean, that defense.
I'm with you.
My thing is because any quarterback playing against that Dallas defense won't look good. I mean, we just seen a $160 million quarterback look terrible against them with the Giants and Daniel Jones. So looking at Zach Wilson, he's still young. They can run the ball extremely well, which I don't understand that their best player on offense, who to me is Breece Hall, he had 4 touches. How do you do that? A young, struggling quarterback, and you have a beast in the backfield. You don't run the ball at all with him? I don't understand that part.
Me neither.
But I think going forward, you take his performances, not losses or wins. You take his performances because I think with this defense, you always have a chance to win the game.
Yep.
Right? And even if you had Aaron Rodgers, you might not even win that game in Dallas anyway. But his performance, if he goes out there and he's turning the ball over and he looks terrible, then maybe we start, you know what, let's bring another quarterback in. Let's get a veteran. Let's get somebody else. But if not, you roll with him until he messes up. My mama said this, ball's in your court. Either what you going to do with it. And I think right now in the situation, put the ball in his court, and if he messes up and has bad performances, then you make a change.
JD, I'm going to co-sign what you said. I'm going to give America a hot take. I apologize in advance. I don't think Zach Wilson played that bad against the Cowboys. For 2.5 quarters, he did his job. 10 points through the first half. He did his job. Daniel Jones had no points through 4 quarters. Zach Wilson helped give you 10 through the first half. He did his job. Hey, defense, you let the Cowboys march down the field on the first possession, 12 plays, 75 yards. And not only that, y'all don't realize at home, it's a little bit of intricacies of the NFL. If a team wins the toss and they choose to receive, they're spitting in your face.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If a team wins the toss, coin toss, and they say, we want the ball,
Give me the rock.
they are spitting in your face. Because what they're saying is, not only do we want the ball, we're going to go score. You always defer. You always make them take it, then you take it after halftime. So you're going to let them go on a 12-play drive in the first half. And defense, you're going to let the Cowboys go on a 16-play drive in the first half?
Right.
2 plays.
And now you got him throwing the ball.
And then Zach didn't throw his picks till the score was 27-10. That's why I don't love box scores. Watch the game. Zach didn't throw his picks till the score was 27-10. Who fumbled first? Dalvin Cook. When Micah Parsons took the ball from him. So Zach Wilson gave you through 3 quarters a winning effort. Once it was 27-10, ain't nobody winning that game versus the Cowboys in the 4th quarter. Not that pass rush. It's just not happening. So I don't think they should get another quarterback yet.
Man, Zach is under a microscope. We all know that. Everything is going to be broken down to the T when you talk about him playing. He's not the older quarterback that went out there this weekend and threw some picks. You know, it's going to happen. I don't want to panic. I don't want to panic off of him going out there against this Dallas Cowboy defense. But 27 passes and you find a way to throw 3 picks. I don't care when they come. I don't care when they come. That's just 27 passes. He was 12 of 27. All right, he only completed 12 passes. We can't win like that. Yes, I wish they would have handed the ball off to Breece more, too, because that takes the ball out of the young quarterback's hands. For me, I don't want to panic, but if he finds a way to go out here in New England and throw 3 more picks, I think you got to hint at the idea of bringing in a veteran quarterback if you are trying to continue to go make the playoffs, right? You hear whispers about it's a possibility, Aaron Rodgers. You ain't even going to be able to smell it if Zach keep playing like this. So for me, if he goes out there and it looks like it looked in Dallas where you have 3 takeaways and you 12,
pause, let me ask you
hard
this
to win like that.
Real quick, though, is like, to me, context matters.
Yeah.
In the sense that if we would have said, hey, the Jets are going to get 10 points in the first half versus the Cowboys, I think we would all say, oh, take that. If y'all were to say, hey, Zach Wilson's going to hit Garrett Wilson for a 71-yard touchdown.
On a slant.
On a slant. I think we would all be like, hey, you know what? Take that. If you were to say, hey, Jets defense, Zach's going to give you 10 points in the first half. C.J. Mosley, Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, they would have been like, oh, no turnovers? Bet. That's just my stance. To call me crazy, I'm a defender. That's just my stance.
Just 4 quarters, though.
4 of them.
Got to play all 4 of them.
You do.
Russell Wilson had a great first half, bad second half. What happened? Came back, lost the game. We can do this every single week. That's how it goes. Some players play bad through 3 quarters and then play an amazing 4th quarter and win. But there's 4 quarters, and you got to play, especially against that team, 4 good ones. So I'm not gonna bang on him for that Cowboys performance because I expected that. I expected the Cowboys to look like that. I expected there to be a lot of takeaways. I said it. It's gonna be hands-on, and that's exactly what it was from the jump, by the way. So I'm not going to get upset with him over the Cowboys' performance. However, this next game is the determining factor. There was already conversation the moment that Aaron went down about bringing someone else in. And the reason for that is the Jets, because they benched him last year, because they had players wearing Mike White shirts, because they went and got Aaron Rodgers to replace their first-round pick in Zach Wilson. So everything that was communicated to us and to the rest of the world, and to Zach Wilson, by the way, was that you're not good enough to be the quarterback of this extremely talented team. Now, they're in a situation that is incredibly unfortunate because Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, that he has to be that guy. But that doesn't mean he's that guy. Now, the Cowboys, I'll give you a pass on. He's a young player. He just went through all of that. He got thrown in against the Bills, miraculously got a win, thanks mostly to Josh Allen and Garrett Wilson's amazing ability. And then, you took one to the Cowboys. Okay, maybe Aaron Rodgers would have two. You're 1-1. But now you're up against a divisional opponent that none of us think very highly of. You need to go and beat the Patriots. If you can go and give a good performance against the Patriots, who are a beatable team, then we're on to something. But if you can't beat the Patriots, we have to start having conversations about bringing someone else in. Or just stop pitching me that this is a team that's actually trying to make the playoffs.
But the thing with Zach Wilson is that you have to play a particular game for him to win.
You do.
Thank you. So when you talk about the picks, right, and it is 4 quarters, I get that. But the way that it happens, so like if you have him just dropping back every play, you can't win like that.
Yeah.
You got to put the running back in there, right? The way they win is they play good defense, like they did against the Bills. They run the ball extremely well, and here and there we need Zach to convert them passes the same way the Niners did with all these other quarterbacks other than Brock Purdy. It's the same formula. Mm-hmm. And when I watched the Dallas Cowboy game, they didn't follow that.
No.
They actually let him go out there and just...
But the problem is good teams are going to make you play a different version of football than you want to play.
Can't let them do
and
that.
are you able to match that energy and still win the game, even though you have to get off of your game plan? And good players can. The reason why the Niners, to your point, can play the way that they play is because of that. Until they get to the big game, and what happens? They lose. Because they need a quarterback that can shift into a different dimension, and they didn't have that.
But here's my thought process, James. I know you want to get in here as well. My thought process is if the Jets are going to win, their defense has to be elite.
Gotta be
It was
elite.
DJ Reed or whoever was saying we want to be like the Seahawks defense, always elite defense. Their defense was not elite. If the Jets are going to win ball games, their defense has to be elite. The Cowboys, I was going back and rewatching the game because I was thinking about what you're saying, Shady. Like, they didn't run the ball. So many people said that. But if you run the ball, the Cowboys are like, oh, good luck. The only reason they scored Garrett Wilson on that 71-yard touchdown run was because the Cowboys had 8 men in the box. We talked about that on the show before. And the Cowboys linebackers, as soon as they said HUD, downhill, we don't care what's happening. That's the only reason they scored on that slant. So in my mind, the Jets are not winning football games with their defense allowing 75-yard touchdown drives, with their defense allowing 30 points, with their defense allowing 27 points without turnovers, right? Remember, before Zach Wilson threw 3 picks, defense had already allowed 27, none of which were Zach Wilson's fault. Dalvin Cook fumbled. And so that's just my thought is like, there is a brand of football that has to be played. Now, the only issue I have with this week, and eventually you can't keep giving Zach passes, but I'm like, man, I saw what the Patriots did to all-pro Jalen Hurts. And I saw what the Patriots did to Tua. Like, Tua looked real mere mortal-ish. Now, still threw for 266, I think. Touchdown, interception. But, like, I'm like...
Gotta run that ball, though. Run that ball.
Jets have lost 14 straight to the Patriots.
And for me, though, to piggyback off Shady's point, you're not about to win games as the Jets by 2 scores. You are going to win games by field goals. So with that being said, if they go 4 drives, 75 yards on our defense, they earn this W. But that's how we're approaching this game. We're going to play smart. We're not going to turn the ball over. Zach, if it's not there, run or throw the ball away. I don't care if you take a sack. We're going to punt. If Mac Jones goes 75 yards, 80 yards consistently on our defense, then that means we are supposed to lose that game. But we are going to win games 17 to 14. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But if we turn the football over and put our defense in short fields, whether it's fumbles, whether it's interceptions, whatever it may be, we are not a team with Zach Wilson able to recover from that. So going into the game, how smart can we be? How simple can we make this game plan? Let's run the ball. Let's get Zach to third and manageable. Let's throw some quick game. If he don't convert, let's punt it. If they go 75 yards, they go 75 yards. But hopefully our defense can get some takeaways. But you're going to win games by 3. You're going to look up at the 4th quarter like, dang, okay, we got a chance, 1 score.
Hey, what quarter was that when Sauce Gardner dropped that pick 6? Second quarter?
It was earlier.
Think about that though. Like on defense, we put you out there because you are our main thing. That's what you are. You're our main thing. And like a play that you have to make when our best or second best player on defense, he makes that play. The game is different. I'm not saying they win the game, but now you put a little pressure on the Cowboys.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Even if you give your team short field there,
Now,
that's what they need to do.
That's where I'm at.
That's how they win.
That's the only way they can
win.
That got to be better, but that Jets defense, if they going to do anything, they got to be better. Shady, I hope you've been stretching.
Well,
subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.